Hello, and welcome back to Danganronpa Lapse. On the last episode, we came across our first victim, Pandora. So far I have no suspect in mind. So we'll have to see who did it, and why. It's also the first investigation we've ever had, so... on we go. Monokuma file, why not? The Monokuma file sheds some light on Pandora's death. Looks like a considerable amount has been conveniently omitted, or rather the entire file has been paraphrased for the purpose of vagueness. May I take a look? Missy handed me a black postcard-sized sheet. Okay, so it's not electronical. The Ultimate Student Victim Report. Victim, Pandora Aspera, I don't know. Cause of death, victims suffered from strangulation, no further injuries detected. Okay. Strangulation, not suffocation, not drowning. Takes away my idea. Victim bodies, sorry, cause of death. Cause of death, the victim's body was discovered in the second spa lounge. So that's an interesting cause of death. The victim suffered strangulation, time of death is 5 minutes past 4 o'clock. No further injuries detected. So it's strangulation. But, is that all the information we have? Unfortunately. However, we have yet to inspect the scene itself. I trust none of the first witnesses shifted... What? I trust none of the first witnesses shifted anything upon arrival. No, I didn't trust anything. I saw her body, ran out and yelled for help, which called Cyrus and Cannon. Neither of them approached her. Well, there's not too much else we can do. I swallowed hard. I still wasn't ready to confront the body, but I steeled myself regardless. Something deep in my heart told me I needed to do this. Echo, I know what you're thinking. It's hard, but we need to face her. What if I don't? There's a small scrap of paper in the pool. What's that? Not sure. I carefully fished out the scrap of paper, taking care not to tear it. It's the note. It was soaked, causing the words to be completely illegible. Oh, it's impossible to read. Yeah, it's ruined. It almost fell apart in my hands. A note, perhaps? However, the writing is impossible to decipher at this point. But how could this refuse be remotely related to the case at hand? Refuse? Sorry? Dunno. It seems kinda out of place, though. Remember, the announcement from this morning said that there was a special gift for whoever went to the atrium. That is correct. It is possible that this note was supposed to be... What? Was the supposed special gift? I can't say. However, I noticed the larger ink blots were vaguely in the shape of something I had seen before. Nope, it is the secret note that Pandora had received. I left the shreds of paper at the side of the pool. Do we check the body, or do we discuss? Let's check the body, I guess. It's Pandora's body. Pandora's bracelet, formerly a rose gold color of its own, like my own, was now vibrant neon pink. I guess it meant she's gone. Well, at least that's an indicator of some sort. As difficult as it is, then, we have to search the body and scene for clues. I've just noticed Missy's necklace. Kind of looks like the collar from Zero Escape. Not Zero Escape. Your Turn to Die. Nevertheless, Missy having a hard time looking directly at Pandora's body. Do you notice anything odd? Her hair being in front of the body. I briefly looked at Pandora's neck. Her neck seems in pretty bad shape. Looks red from some kind of stress. But other than that, I can't figure out anything else. Her hair. The victim report, according to the Monokuma file, the cause of death states she suffered strangulation. Let's think about it. If she was strangled, with what did the culprit strangle her with? Good question. Do you think the culprit went to the climbing center and used a rope? That's what it looks like. Or perhaps they cruelly used their own bare hands. It doesn't look like handprints. I shuddered at the thought. The fact that we had to think of how the culprit committed such a thing was unnerving. We're not checking that again? Oh, I can't. Okay, so once we've checked, we checked. Okay. Blog menu order 1. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Hello, Sai. Apparently you had something, correct? Sai fainted as soon as she entered the spa lounge. Portia was kind enough to situate her in a spare chair off to the side to regain her strength. Oh, okay. Portia! Is it really possible for the music... for that music to... music... what? Is it really possible that the music provoked murder? I can't wrap my head around the music being used to motivate something so extreme. I agree, I cannot condone the vilifying of music. What if it was what was the word? Subtlety, not like, something messages. Subliminal, that's the word. It's proven that music has therapeutic qualities, but conversely, select sounds have the ability to cause anxiety and other negative effects. True, and that's why people do ASMR stuff. In that case, maybe the motivating music was meant to make us stop thinking about clearly. I definitely felt startled when it began. Perhaps the rhythm of the music can affect your body. Given our experience with the motivating music, it was how it's high-paced and likely used to cause, as the announcer said, blood-pumping excitement. I suppose those qualities could have been abused to activate a fight or flight response that would inevitably end up like this. Is that so? Makes sense. The wretched music was certainly irritating, but for someone to succumb and produce such an intense reaction, to what end? Was the music really that motivating? Ken. Let's go with our friends. We'll go with Art first. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. I rubbed his back as he took a deep breath. I took deep breaths. Hey, it's all okay. We can't promise it'll be okay, can we? I don't think we can. Art could barely eke out a word in his state. Fair enough. Lyle, your turn. Lyle, what are you thinking? If I'm being honest, I don't know. There's a lot on the seam to dissect. The only thing that caught my eye was that shred of paper at the spa pool, but it's completely ruined. I expected a bit more keen observation from him, but even Lyle was either stumped or too shocked to speak on the matter. Fair enough. Cool, quote-unquote bestie? Echo. It's selfish, but after I heard the announcement, I was so relieved to see you standing in the room. That said, I mean, you know us, so I guess it makes sense that you'd be happy to see us. Pandora didn't deserve this. No one deserves this. I hope she didn't suffer. She suffocated. Suffering is in the name. Suffocated. Ashley fell silent and stared at our lost friend. I had never seen Ashley so distraught. Okay, now your turn, Brainiac. I admit this is nothing if not shocking to see. The words were unwavering, but Missy's voice was cracked and disjointed. Yeah, I can't believe it actually happened. It's inconceivable, and to Pandora nonetheless. As opposed to whom? She held it together quite strongly. I'm certain her spirit would not have been crushed by a game constructed of fear. Well, I don't know. What if it was suicide? Just saying. She clearly held her hands to her own throat until she passed out, and then they held onto her neck more till the breathing stopped. Alas, there's no use of thinking in hopeful hypotheticals now that this has occurred. Yeah. I was shaken by how articulate, even on the subject of death, Missy remained. Okay. The two fellow witnesses. I still don't like your name. The fact that it's just the palindrome. This is distressing to say the least. Echo, were you the first one here? No, technically the murderer was. Well, even before that, Pandora was here first. Actually, no, we don't know that. Maybe the murderer got here first, then Pandora showed up. Yeah. I didn't catch anyone on my way here, though. So I can't say I saw anyone suspicious who would have done this. What time did the music start? I forgot that. You came pretty quickly after I shouted. Did you happen to see anyone? Can't say that I did. I was in the climbing center right next door, too. How convenient. Was Karen with you? She came about the same time as you, if I recall correct. No, I was by myself. I was in the climbing center. I left the door open if anyone wanted to join in recreation. Even with the music going on? No one came by the center, and I didn't leave until I heard your voice. I ran out the cannon shortly thereafter in the hallway, just in front of the spa lounge. Weird. I didn't run to anyone on the first floor either, so whoever did it must have just vanished. That's unlikely, regardless. How did the culprit give us the slip? Good question. Cyrus was grumbling to himself as he tried to organize the events past. That is a valid question, because under the assumption Canada and Cyrus are innocent, well, at least it takes away one room they couldn't have entered. Echo eliminates the entire floor they couldn't have entered. So I guess it depends on where Cameron was, who I'm going to assume was in the atrium. Don't talk to me. Kevin spoke through tightly gritted teeth. Fair enough, the mood is understandable. She looked disturbed. That's everybody. Continue. Means we've checked everything. This is a nice way to investigate. After investigating Pandora's body, I felt an exhaustion like none other. Never in my life did I think I would be experiencing something like this. The weight of the shock and melancholy of it all bore heavily on my shoulders. Is there nothing else we can do? Well, we can argue about it for about 5 hours to decide who else to kill. I wonder, did anyone see anything else suspicious on the way here? We all looked over one another, but no one replied. Everyone was understandably on edge. Of course no one wanted to talk. It appears we've exhausted all avenues of our investigation here. Such a lackluster amount of clues doesn't bode well for us. Yes, but we don't prove... But if we've done all we can looking into the scene, there's nothing left but to discover Pandora's killer. Is it going to be Sai? Is Sai going to be the killer? That's going to be sad. Of course, that's easier said than done. I heard Cannon grumble in the corner. She seemed distressed. Alright. I think I've given you enough leeway to get yourselves together. So it's time for the class trial. I hope you have enough ammunition to shoot down the culprit. If not, then I guess you're out of luck. There's an elevator in the main foyer that will cruise you all down to the special class trial courtroom. If you do not assemble in the elevator quickly, I'll send a radio transmission that will release the toxic gas in your bracelets. You want to find out who did it, right? You don't want your lives to end before you've had the chance to defend yourselves, right? Well, that begs the case. What if we all go down except the killer? Do we still have... well, like, I'm assuming we'll still have to talk about it and stuff, but it seems a bit unfair if the killer just gives up. Let's get a move on. I'll be seeing you shortly. The announcement went out as quickly as they came in. So the trade is happening. The group shifted around anxiously. Well, what are we waiting for? Ashley took the first stride out of the room, but not without giving Pandora one last somber look in the doorway, or from the doorway. Forty gently eased Sai awake, turning her gaze from the unsightly scene and helping it as she hobbled out. It would be very unfortunate if it was Sai, because not only did Sai have this reaction to seeing the body, but it doesn't make her innocent, because she had seen it and was like, oh, what have I done? And then collapsed. One by one, the others filtered out of the spa lounge. I stood at the back for a moment to take one last look at Pandora. Okay. I do like that little step animation, I suppose. We all stepped into the large elevator and began the dark descent into the supposed courtroom. The elevator sailed noiselessly towards the unknown destination for what felt like an eternity. Silently we stood. No one dared speak. Usually that's when someone speaks. Right after the narrator says, no one said anything. I had a lump in my throat from anxiety, the fear, the sadness. My stomach was knotted, my head dizzy, my heart aching. The spa lounge where we were meant to investigate came short of anything useful clues. We were only able to procure two traces of evidence: Pandora's note and the fact that she was strangled. I hope it's Cyrus. I don't like his name. One fact of which was, cause he's got a motive. Without his ability, who is he? Without the ultimate charisma, he's a nobody. Sure, without the clockmaking or watchmaking talent, shy girl, I guess. So it has to be Cyrus. That's my hopes, not my conclusion. And the other was a secret note from only a few were aware of. Nervous was an understatement. I was at a complete loss. The elevator eventually slid to a standstill, shaking me from my thoughts. Oh, we're gonna have. I see how it is. It's gonna be like a ring of the dead. The doors opened to reveal our rendezvous point. The spacious, dome-shaped room at the top of the... We're at the roof? I thought we'd be downstairs. Okay. Top of the glass ceiling, a third of the foundation revealing the sunset sky outside of our confines. At least we get the sunlight. The walls themselves were barren, with simple... matter? I don't know. Navy blue with a rim light illuminating the room. Hanging on the wall across from the way was a grim picture frame representing Pandora. Her profile had been crudely shooken with a violent pink X. The picture frame was positioned so that it was looking almost hauntingly over the circular group of podiums. It was a bleak place. To think there was a dedicated location for whatever was about to occur. Just where were we? Welcome one and all to the trial grounds. The stand before you will be the key locale for today's trial. So let's see some hustle, people. The announcement was much more imposing in the courtroom, echoing through the domed chamber, each reverberation almost pushing us into place. We steadily settled in and stood in silence. At the stands, we were placed in a circular formation. Did we get CG for it? Our faces, our fears, and our emotions were exposed to one another. The atmosphere, thick with anxiety, was palpable and crushing. I could feel my heavy heart pounding in my head. My palms were sweaty, my knees weak, my arms were heavy. Yet I could feel a dreadful, eerie chill go up my spine. I tried to be strong, but my knees were weak, my breath short, my arms were heavy. We were here because of one unmistakable fact. Someone killed her. Pandora Esper, the ultimate baker. A gentle and caring person who wanted nothing more than to share her good spirit and delectable treats with the world. I mean, if you think about it, she got off easy. She didn't have to experience any of this trial stuff. So whoever makes it to the end has to make it all the way to the end through however many people. Someone here was responsible for her death. Well, there's 5 of us. I'm going to say Cyrus because Forte has an alibi. Canon seems too plot relevant, and we're the main characters, so... See, no one here. No one here is responsible. I will be sad when Ty goes, and Lyle, and Art, and Missy. I mean, I guess Ashley's the best friend, but I don't know. I don't know what it is with fangames and stuff, but the best friend just doesn't, or like the chosen sidekick. And the only thing that kept me from standing there firm was the drive to figure out who heartlessly ended her life. Ooh. Hello? A light began to flicker weakly in the center of the circle stands. The flickering gained strength, and as the shape began to take form within the light, something that like the shape of the person began to appear. A person, hello! Welcome on all, welcome to the courtroom. Who are you? What is that? Who am I? What is that? Answers to those questions don't matter too much. Besides, I think you ought to have more pressing questions, since something super bad has transpired. All you really need to know is that I'm your lovely judge for today's trial. Okay, maybe I'm not a real certified judge or whatever, but I will be the one passing judgment on what happens today and after each subsequent matter to come. Judge be not really a judge. Judge but not really a judge. It's too long and confusing to address me, so you may call me... Me? Hello, me. Okay, me. The hologram of the person named Me. Zero presented itself, giving a face of the to the voice of a killing game announcer. So I'm the bad guy. Okay. Without further ado, I take it you all know why you're here. Ooh, okay. I like the frame we have. Jeez, you're all a bunch of quiet. You cry a bunch, aren't you? I can read. I can read. You're all here to suss out who done it. In other words, you're on trial to figure out the culprit of today's heinous crime. Who do we think? Who do you think? Well, again, like, Cyrus was where the ropes were. So I had the thing, but Lyle stole that. I didn't consider Lyle, to be fair. But what if Lyle figured out it wasn't a puzzle or a game he could escape? And oh, that would be saddening. Do you think you could just get away with murder and win the prize? No, it's not that simple. The rules are as follows: discuss, discover, and determine. I like the alliteration for that. Who the culprit is among the group. A majority will seal the individual's fate. We'll see just what happens from there, yeah? One of a few outcomes will occur. Determine and vote incorrectly, and the entire class is executed. With the culprit alone being able to walk free and win the ultimate prize. That's the ideal endgame for the culprit. Determining it vote correctly and the culprit alone will receive proper retribution and perish at the hands of your group decision. So, well, I'm assuming it doesn't necessarily mean anything other than they die. But it sounds like we could choose to let them live. You just might live to see another day. Our victim today is Pandora Esper, the ultimate baker. A sweet young lady who did nothing wrong, or could she? Or could do nothing wrong. Well, people can surprise you. I mean, it doesn't imply that she attacked anyone. I don't think she did. So with that out of the way, get to talking. Who exactly are you? Are you still asking that, even though I've introduced myself all nice? You should have bigger concerns than that. Talk about the murder. I can't believe who did it isn't your top priority right now. It's a valid concern. Huh? No one wants to talk? Need I remind you your lives are on the line? If none of you starts talking, you'll all default to lose to having lost the trial when you executed. I'm pretty sure that's only if we don't vote, correct? We can still vote, just guess. You don't want that, do you? Executed? What does that mean? The dictionary definition of execute: to carry out a sentence of death. It's really quite simple. I would imagine it would be, but on the one hand, it makes my job easier. I don't have to listen to bad deductions. On the other hand, I'd be terribly bored if this game didn't get past the first chapter. I suppose so. But even he's addressing it as a chapter. I'm assuming it's a he. Everyone, please, we need to discuss who could possibly have done the unthinkable. As trifling or even irrelevant as something may be, if you can have any concerns about the case, speak now. The music, the note, the reward, it's scary. So, are you okay? Side, please don't push yourself. Yes, thank you. If he wants us to talk, I'll talk. I'll talk about how scared I am. I just want to go home. I can't get used to anything around here. I don't know any of you people. And then someone gets killed? Say, I understand it's difficult, but discussing our friend's death is necessary to ensure we don't find a similar fate ourselves. Didn't she just said she's technically not our friend? She doesn't know any of us. At the very least, we can try and remember our last moments with her. That Zero is right. We don't want to go down without a fight, right? Why don't we begin with Pandora's last known whereabouts? The spa, lounge, easy. The silence in the room was oppressive. A trial to defend ourselves? Why do I need to defend myself if I know for a fact that I would never the killer? Or I would never kill her? Because no one else knows that you'd do it, or you wouldn't do it. Regardless, no one knew where to start. Well then, I shall begin. Shall we not call it there? And let the trial actually begin once, with the full video? I think that we should. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I can see you next time. With that, goodbye.